Okay, so hi guys. We are doing a show called Artists at Work, and my friend Kyle here, he's an amazing video producer, and I am a landscape photographer, and I'm going to be giving tips of how to be a professional artist and to sell your work. I did a post about a day or two ago, got some good response, so I just wanted to do a video version of that for those who like watching videos. All right, so pull the questions up.
All right, so let's start this off, dude.
Okay,
so
cool.
This one's going to be all about you giving some tactics on art.
Awesome.
So
we'll do you next too.
let me start here. This is a very general question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you start actually selling your art? Like, where do you start?
So I have a lot of friends who are artists, and they'll do some amazing art, whether it's painting, photography, sketching, charcoal, whatever the medium is. And they'll do a bunch of stuff they're proud of. They love it. Their friends love it. Their family love it. They make a custom website. They put it up. They spend lots of money and time doing. They put it up, and nobody buys. And they're like, I failed to sell my art. What am I doing wrong? So here's the thing. The first thing on selling art, are we sideways?
Yeah, we're sideways.
We need to handle that. Hang on. Sorry about this.
All right, wait, I'll take it.
Sorry, guys. This is my first time ever going live, and we're going to.
You keep going.
Okay, cool.
I'll take care of this.
So, the first thing to sell your art is finding who you want to serve. What is your audience? Who do you want to deliver value to as an artist? For me, I was very fortunate. I got started, I worked in interior design for 7 years. I worked at a very high level. I helped thousands of families put their homes together. I worked with businesses, offices, putting their commercial spaces together. And I very quickly learned that as I traveled around the world doing that, many people didn't have really, really good pictures of their hometown. If we were in Chicago or New York City, everybody photographed Chicago and New York City. But Hickory, North Carolina, Franklin, Tennessee, these were not places that were often photographed, and people were always asking for custom stuff. So my custom audience kind of fell into my lap of, hey, can you like shoot our hometown? Can you shoot our skyline? If I was in a non-alpha city like New York City or San Francisco or something like that. So to sell your art, you got to find who you're servicing. Let's say you like sketching horses, or you like doing family portraits, or you like photographing, families or kids or babies, whatever. Find out. So let's say you're photographing babies. Obviously, your target market would be women who've just had a baby and want photos taken of their baby. So you got to kind of do that just like you would with any other product or service on the market. So for me, I found people who are furnishing their homes, people who'd be going to furniture stores. Like, all right, where do they shop? Well, there's a lot of furniture stores at the mall. Let me try at the mall. So I set up an art kiosk. I quit my job about a year ago, and I started doing art, selling art in an art kiosk. We're actually in that right now. Selling in a mall with people walking by who are looking for my stuff. So I would start two things. I would start with Amazon, and I would start with Etsy for online, and then offline I would start with farmers markets and handmade craft shows or art shows. Go where the traffic already is. Go where people are already going with their money to find something that they need. They already have intent to buy, and going there first.
So I want you to clarify one piece of that. If somebody understands that concept, but doesn't like, can you give me some hard advice on how to start understanding who that target person would be?
Absolutely.
You got your Wi-Fi on?
I don't have my Wi-Fi on. Let me handle that. Sorry guys, technical glitch here. So sorry.
Y'all know what happens when we do live videos.
I know.
You got to deal with real life.
This is the first time ever doing a live. Do please bear with me. So ask that question again. We can do it at the same time.
So my question is, so that we just heard what you said about that, right? Finding target market, you got to understand who you're serving.
Yeah, who are you
How
serving?
do we, we understand the concept, what's something tangible that I can go do right now, like a Google search or something to start making that happen if
Absolutely.
I'm not really sure?
That's a really good question. Let me get back onto the live here, and I will answer that. Okay, and finish, ending.
Okay, go ahead and answer that. I should be able to get you live on there again.
Share and live, and you want to type that thing in. Learn how to sell your art. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. So, how to find your target market. I would find out what's already being sold in your market. So let's say you want to sell pictures of horses, you're a painter or you're a sketch artist, find horse sketches on Amazon, on Etsy, on eBay, on Fine Art America, just to name a few, on art.com, marketplaces that are already selling art. Find out what they're selling for. Find out what people are doing. Find out what kind of offers they're doing. How long is the shipping? How many people have viewed their stores that month? There's something for Etsy, which is a really good handmade place. There's a great thing for Etsy called etsyrank.com, and you can actually find where you're ranked out of like 300,000 different sites. So
Wow.
find the top 100 of people who sketch horses, and you can do it by keyword. So etsyrank.com and find out what they're doing, what they're offering, what does their homepage look like, what are their top 3 that they do, are they doing black and white, are they doing color, and you can kind of back work out, what's the word, back, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, reverse engineer.
Reverse engineer is the word I'm looking for. Reverse engineer what's already successful. Also, farmers markets, craft shows are a great place to start too.
So do you have, does it matter if they're starting doing research on Amazon versus Etsy versus eBay, something like that? I imagine
Etsy
eBay's not
is
the
by
right place,
far
but-
the easiest place to start. Etsy has really user-friendly, if you're not a computer nerd, like I'm not a computer nerd, if you're not techie, Etsy is way easier than Amazon. That said, once you've got your Etsy store hot live, you definitely want to move over to Amazon Handmade. Amazon Handmade is their response to Etsy, and it has 10 times more customers on it. I make way more money on Amazon Handmade than I do on Etsy. That said, I still make money on Etsy. Don't neglect Etsy.
Okay, I actually don't know what Amazon Handmade is, so there might be other people as well that don't. What's that?
Good question. It's a program that Amazon launched about 2 or 3 years ago
Okay.
to rival Etsy. And they don't have a monthly fee. Normally you have to pay $40 a month to
Yep.
be an Amazon seller. You don't have to do that with Amazon Handmade. You get a much prettier storefront. You get to put video. Like, they give you all the privileges that a super elite seller on Amazon would right from the get-go.
Okay, so let's go a little bit further with that then. What qualifies as handmade?
Anything which takes individual craftsmanship. There's the word artisan, which means made by hand. Artist. They do take photography, like me. As long as you took the photo, you can have somebody else print it for you, because fine art printers can cost like $500,000. So they don't expect you to have your own thing. But yeah, so Amazon Etsy first, and then Amazon Handmade, and then you can do eBay too. I've made quite a few sales on eBay, but not as much as Amazon. So yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
so we kind of covered this second question as well that I had prepared.
How to find your
for-
market?
So yeah, let me keep
Yeah.
going. How do you know what to sell?
So, in school we learned about Venn diagrams.
Yeah, you're right, Venn.
Like overlapping circles. You got to find what you love to do, but also what are people already looking for in your market. Maybe lots of people love horses, but maybe there is a subsection of girls between 9 years old and 15 who will beg for their birthday present to have a beautiful sketch of a horse to go up on their bedroom wall. Who is already buying what? So you've really got to look at what is sought after and what is in demand with what you love doing. I would recommend starting with the demand, finding what's in demand within your target market, and then deciding what you would have the most fun doing. If you don't love it, if you're not totally into it, you're not going to continue with it, and it's not worth starting, in my opinion.
Okay.
I love my photography of like skyline, cityscapes, and skylines so much that I would do it, and I did it for many years without making money for it. So I do it even if it wasn't my job. So you got to find something that you love and that's in demand. You got to
Okay.
find how those intersect.
So let's take this a step further then. So
Sure.
say that you've got your photos
everyone.
or whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you know that you want to go sell them. You did some research, but what you're struggling with is knowing where your stuff fits in with everybody else's, like whether it's good enough or good enough, right? Art is
Totally.
subjective, but that piece of it. So how do you deal with that along with pricing it and knowing how to price it
It's a really
in
good
your
question.
market?
It really comes down to filling a niche or finding a niche. For me, taking pictures of New York City that thousands of other people were, I wasn't going to get a lot of traction with that. But I started off in Nashville, and there was, this is in 2013. That's a picture of Nashville. I don't know if you can see it. there weren't a lot of people taking some of the smaller landmarks in Nashville. Everybody shoots the skyline, but there's some more local landmarks. And I was like, okay, here's a niche that isn't really being filled. So I would go broad in what you love doing and what's in demand, and then survey, ask people, put on your Facebook, hey, what would you like to see? You can even talk to people on the street. When you do craft shows, craft fairs, you can ask people, they'll come up to you like, hey, that's a really nice skyline, but they'll ask, do you have, for Nashville, the Johnny Cash Museum? Do you have like the country music bars? Do you have the Ryman Auditorium? It's like a country music hall, really famous. And you'll get in an hour. Yeah, really.
It's off screen for both of these.
We're in my gallery, so yeah. So you'll find you'll get more feedback in an hour selling live in a farmer's market, a craft show, an art show than you will in 3 months of selling online. So absolutely go for the online market. You'll make a lot of money there when you get everything sorted. But nothing replaces selling face to face to get that live, quick feedback loop of who is my audience, what do they want, and what will they pay for it.
That became very clear when Craig and I actually first started talking, because he told me to do that, right? He's like, well, you got to get more feedback. And so...
Feedback from people who are willing to pay for your services, not from, say, 14-year-old kids who like cool stuff on YouTube, which is a valid market, but they don't have money.
So I remember you telling me that, and I wasn't sure what to do with it at the time, because it was here that he told me that, and so there were people walking by all the time looking at his art, and he could see which colors they were responding to better or whatever. And for me, the equivalent was selling video to business owners. So
it's an amazing video production guy.
Thank you. So at the time, I only had like maybe one meeting a week or something, whereas he had like close to 300 a day of people that you could get
maybe
feedback
300
from.
a week. So yeah. Whatever that is a day.
So I was sitting there, I was like, I got to figure out how to talk to more people, because it's not going to work.
Shorten the feedback loop. Figure out how you can get in front of your actual buyers and get their feedback. Survey. Ask hundreds of questions. And if somebody really likes your stuff, be like, hey, let's say you're doing the horses, right? I understand you really love horses and you love this picture. Thank you for buying that. What else would you like to see? Would you like to see like a close-up detail of like the horse's hooves? Maybe it's the eyes. Maybe I could do like a close-up of the eyes. Maybe I could do like a more semi-abstract with like, paint splatters, and what would you like? And get lists and start building lists of what your people want. And then build another list for the next person, and build another list for the next person. And pretty soon you're going to start seeing themes of overlapping items. You're going to find 1, 2, 3, 4 things that everybody is asking for, and then you go hard on those.
So let me ask you this then, because this might get a little weird.
Yeah.
If you get enough feedback from people basically saying, we want you to make this, and
you have a market.
Okay, so you have a market, right?
Yeah.
But you talked about the Venn diagram earlier about knowing what you love to do as well.
100%.
How do you balance that when those might be differing things, or like everybody's saying, I want you to make this, and you're like, I really don't want to make that, or like I don't like making that? Like, how do you balance
it depends how hungry you are. If you're just in it to make money, which I don't recommend doing, you can just do a bunch of custom requests and be semi-happy with that. Or you can kind of find a compromise somewhere in the middle. What I like to do is list all the things that people want, find the top 5 items that they've requested me, and then find what do I most want to do. And even if the thing that I most want to do is only number 3 out of 5, I'll go do that first and put all my heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And it's almost always a bestseller. So the formula for finding what to paint, draw, whatever that will sell is put something out. Then put it out in front of buyers who are actual proven buyers of that thing, whether it's a farmer's market, art fair, Amazon, Etsy. Then survey the crap out of them to find out what else in a similar field that they would actually want. Make lists of all your different people who've given you answers. Make individual lists for each person. Step 6 is find the things that each list has in common. You'll find like a list of top 5 things that you've been asked for. Look at those top 5 things and find the one thing that you want to do the most, and then go heavy in on that. Experiment, and then post it and see what they say. Maybe your interpretation of what they wanted isn't right, and you'll put your heart and soul into it, and they'll be like, no, I wanted horse hooves, not horse, close up of eyes. And then you'll do horse hooves, and you're like, hey, I guess I could do that too. And then you might sell 50 pieces, and you're like, all right, that's my niche, or that's a niche.
Okay.
And then just repeat.
Has that happened to you before?
Yes, not with horses, but with city.
Do you have like a story that you could tell about that?
Good question. Yeah. When I first moved to New York City in 2014, I couldn't wait to start photographing New York City. I'd been doing all these small towns, and I was finally going to like a big city, right? It's like one of the most iconic cities in the world. And I was like, everybody, I surveyed a lot of people. I was like, what do you want me to shoot? And they're like, Empire State Building, Empire State Building, Empire State Building. And I went into Midtown Manhattan, New York City, and started shooting the Empire State Building. And I took a bunch of pictures of it, and I posted them all online, and it was very lukewarm at best. Nobody seemed to give a shit about the Empire State Building. And I'm like, hey, what happened? They're like, it's the Chrysler Building. Now, I don't know how well you know about New York, but there's the Empire State Building, which is the big one.
Oh my gosh.
And the Chrysler Building is way prettier. It's a beautiful building. It's the one that King Kong was like on fighting off the plane in the 1920s. It's Art Deco. It's
once again,
gorgeous.
I can see it, but it's off screen for everybody else.
Yeah, totally. So it was the Chrysler Building, and I was shooting the wrong building. So I went back, shot the Chrysler Building, and it became a top seller. I make money off of that picture on a monthly basis to this day, 5 years later.
Wow. So to kind of wrap up this show for us, you have a really, what I consider to be a big saying for you, because I've heard it so many times, action brings clarity.
Yes.
What do you mean by that, and how can that be applied to somebody's art?
Okay, good. So there's so much philosophizing in life. You know, you're like, theories and should I do this and that. And one of the things that I find holds back an artist to a huge degree is people not knowing what to do, and you know they have 5 things in front of them, and I always get people asking, what should I do? I said, do something. As soon as, like, while we were shooting this, we shot an episode just before this, and I didn't really like certain aspects of it. I'm like, let's shoot another one. The second we did something and minorly failed at it, we knew what to do. So try horse hooves. If horse hooves don't work, try horse eyes. Keep surveying your market. You know, even if you fail 6 times and make it a 7th time, as long as you're finding something that you love doing and that some people are responding to, you'll improve and improve and improve. All you have to do is continuously, incrementally improve your offerings to your market, and you will make sales. Spending 6 months on one piece, putting it up, and find out that it doesn't sell is heart-wrenching, and my heart goes out to people who've experienced that. What you really need to do is find out what they want, do it, get their feedback, ask what else they'd like to see, and then do that, present it to them, see what worked, what didn't work. Take what didn't work, discard that, take what did work, and go heavy in on that. And the more you do that, the better you'll get. So a quest for perfection can really actually be detrimental. Just do something you love doing that your market seems to want, and you'll get better and better and better. Every month that I'm at work, I've been doing this for 7 years now, every month I get better and better and better at giving exactly what the target market wants. Whew, that was a long rant. Whew.
Cool.
So I actually want to take questions. I want to take the comments. Who has a question for me? I've sold $150,000 of art in the last year, and I want to know, what do you want to know? What are some specific questions? I've got the comments right in front of me. Thank you, Jerome. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Abby. Hi, Sydney. What do you guys want to know?
I'm going to read this out because they don't see this on the YouTube show.
Okay, no problem.
Drum says, these gold nuggets are awesome, and although my niche is an art niche, all these pointers are so relevant.
Awesome to hear, Jerome. Thank you.
Quality feedback. Ooh, that's huge, by the way, getting quality feedback versus just feedback. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even what I meant, but
people
that's
who are
that's
actually
important.
in your target market who are willing to spend money.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get a question. Can we get one question before we end off on this? I know this is my first time living, so I understand if it's a small one. Anybody got a question? Okay, that's cool too. Do you want to add anything to what I've said?
I fully agree and second action brings clarity. My quote that's the same thing is action, action, action. So I am almost that way to a fault, where you might think differently based on how much I seemed to be planning out the show. But
you're a good mix of both.
I very much get an idea and I just jump on it. Like we roll with it. instantaneously, and I was like, I don't know, I'll figure out all the pieces as I go. But and for example, my move to Nashville was very much like that. Didn't have a job, didn't have a place to stay.
It's impulsive and you made it happen.
None of the pieces were in place except for I had one piece that was in place, which was I knew my sister lived down here, so I had some person to rely on somehow. I didn't know what degree, I didn't know if she's going to take me in or not. I had no idea. But anyways, I tend to be like that with almost everything, and
just shoot now, ask questions later.
Yeah, and I
There's
almost
a lot
do it
of
on
validity to
purpose
that.
because it's easy to overthink things and then you sit there and do nothing. So
Worst
I
case-
try to counteract it.
Absolutely. The worst case scenario is you're wrong and you adjust from there, right?
Exactly. That's
There's
right.
nothing wrong
That's right.
with failing 6 times and making it on the 7th time. I
Yeah.
spent 7 years wishing I could be an artist full time, and it was only in the last year or so that I made it.
But okay, so everybody has that 7th time that you, or like the 8th time or whatever that you stand back up. I think that it's still worth saying that it's okay to fail 6 times,
100%.
and like that's just what happened, you know,
Absolutely.
and then you adjusted and moved somewhere else. Like that's okay.
Yep.
But I think it's as long as you're not quitting. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
don't
say.
quit. You can always reach out to me if you have any specific questions of tactics of how you want something. I'd love to answer any questions. This is my first time on Facebook Live, so I don't fully know what I'm doing here.
And for the YouTube show, we're also going to
Yeah.
put up on the screen what's the best way to get in contact with you.
You can reach out to me on Facebook. You can PM or DM me on Instagram. You can contact form on my website, CraigAlexanderStudios.com, but just social media is way better. I want to do this once a week, and I would love your feedback on exactly what you want to hear, and then I want to put that out. Sorry if this is a little rushed. We just shot a whole episode, and I developed some of these ideas a little bit more thoroughly, and then on the second time, I'm like, all right, I already explained it. Let me just spit it all out. But,
so if you're watching this on the YouTube, not the Facebook Live, if you're on this YouTube stream right here, let us know something that resonated from this show in the comments, or if you have a question that you want us to answer next week, definitely make sure that you put that in there for us. We will be checking, we will be answering. It's not going to be one of those dead comment sections where the creators never go back in there, so we'll be
definitely interact.
there.
Cool. And let me know what your goals are. What do you want to create? How much money do you want to make at it? Who do you want to sell to? Who's your target market? Who do you want to serve? And then we can kind of reverse engineer from who you want to serve to how you go about doing that, what channels you distribute that onto, what printers, if it's fine art on tangible paper, what printers you want to use. I've spent 7 years researching all these things. I have a lot of links that I'd love to share with you guys. Let me know what you want, and I'm here for you. I'd love to help a bunch of people out. All right. Thanks, guys. I think we'll end it at that.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Artists at Work.
All right.
Where we help you make money with your art.
Love it. See you guys.